Welcome to the Christian Dad Podcast, your place for encouragement and practical tips on how to be a great dad. Today, I'm super excited because I have my wife, Arlene Pellicane, a renowned author, speaker, mom, wife. She's really hot stuff. Today, we're going to continue the conversation about leadership, which I'm very excited about.
Leadership. That's how you say it in our home. So we have 3 children. We'll be like, if something happens, we'll be like, leadership. And we'll be like, that's daddy, because you provide the leadership.
That's usually when no one wants to hear what I have to say.
Yeah, nobody.
Leadership.
So this is really, you're very good at this leadership piece. So it's good that we're talking about this. So let's start here. So what does it mean if we're thinking about leadership isn't just what you do, it's who you are. So it's not only what you do, but it's who you are. So help us understand, what does that mean? And how has that belief changed the way you show up to parent?
Well, I'm going to share with you a story, and then I'm going to tell you something from Zig. So I remember we were at church one time, and it was like a Sunday night, and there was an altar call at our church, and they had this time where you could get real close to God and pour your heart out before Him. And I remember I was just saying, I was on my knees in the front of the church, and it was kind of laid back. It was really laid back. Maybe at the end of the service, people already left, but it was a real hush, respectful environment. And I had my hands raised up to the Lord. I was like, Lord, help me, and whatever the case was. And I remember looking to my left, and my little 3-year-old Ethan was right there. Lord, help me, on his knees, hands in the air. And it was just such a beautiful picture to me as a new dad is, they're going to become who you are.
Oh, I love that picture of you and Ethan. So many times we just want to have the family that follows us, have the family that's doing well, but we have forgotten the first 2 steps. Like, first of all, I have to be a certain someone, and then I have to do a certain thing.
And we get that leadership by, number one, I think we talked about it last time, by realizing we've been deputized by God. Like, this is our calling, whether we like it or not. This is our role, is to provide this leadership. And it's not this authoritarian stuff. That's the bad, that's all the way bad. We're not talking about that. We're talking about servant leadership.
Yeah.
And there's a need for this. And part of that is accepting that responsibility, right? Mm-hmm. And then asking. Now, for me, it was really cool because I had a next door neighbor, God bless him, Brent Williams, and I was able to pick his brain. I was like, okay, I have new kids. What do I do in this circumstance? I saw these kids in the supermarket, and they did this. What will you do? And I would drill them and pepper them because I didn't know how to be the leader that I wanted to be. Mm-hmm. Right, so I would pepper them with all these questions. And the other thing I would do is I would read. You guys are already doing it. You're listening to this podcast, reading books. Arlene's got a great book, Parents Rising. Give us a quick little nutshell of what Parents Rising is all about.
Yeah, Parents Rising is, we live in a culture where we as parents are looking to our kids like, am I doing this right? And instead, it should be the opposite. The kids should be looking at the parents and asking, am I doing this right? Mm-hmm. So it is the idea of parents, you lead, and what are the 8 strategies you can have to have kids that will be respectful and love God and will value what's right.
Yeah. And then once you get this leadership thing down, you got this realize that you're the one that's been deputized, not the teachers, not the pastor. You're the one that's been deputized. I can't emphasize this enough. You have this, you've been hired. Mm-hmm. You've been hired. In a religious context, you have the mantle, if you will.
You have a calling.
You have the calling. You have the calling. No one else. You. God put these precious cherubs in your life. And where am I going with this one? Sometimes you're going to have to buck the system. And I'll give you, I remember when Ethan was in kindergarten, he broke his leg in 2 places.
Yeah. On a spin bike.
We won't talk about that.
Yeah, right. It wasn't even moving.
And I remember we went to the doctor, and they're telling us, okay, yeah, we'll do. You put him in the cast. And then I was walking with the nurse. It's like, we don't have crutches his size. We don't make them. They don't make them. And we'll have to get him in a wheelchair. And I'm thinking to myself, oh no, like, my wife logistically cannot handle bringing, kids around, 3 kids at the time, having him with a little wheelchair running around. She cannot physically do this. And I remember saying to them, no, give me the crutches and I will retrofit them to fit him. And at the time they thought I was off my rocker. no, 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 no. He needs to be in a wheelchair. I was like, no, he doesn't. He just has a broken leg. And I remember I've had this like mentality throughout the entire, because you'll hear parents say different things, and I determined what was right because I have the responsibility, right, of what was right for my kids and my family. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's so good because some of you listening might have that combination. I'm a rules follower and James is more free spirited to find the solution. So people like me just say, okay, we'll take the wheelchair and we just figure they know best. And we actually need people like James who would say, wait, there is another way. Like our kid could use crutches and that would really be good for him. And it was good for him.
So fast for the tape, third grade. Our third grade teacher said, do not teach your kids English. I'm being serious. That's a quote. So our kids were in a dual immersion program. They were educated in Spanish. She goes, we'll teach them English. We'll do it.
I think it was first grade, just to be clear. Was it?
I don't want to use the teacher. I don't want to use the teacher's name. You know, you're right. It was first grade. You're right.
The teacher's name, and it was first grade.
It was first grade. Arlene is great. I was like, no. No. The responsibility is on us. And yes, that's so. I did not listen to that advice for a nanosecond.
Yeah, the teacher didn't want to confuse the kids with too many languages, and we knew, like, no, we can teach them. We can read stories in English too.
We can do Hooked on Phonics. You know, we got all the phonics books, and we made like a little reward out of it. Yeah, and that was really important for me. Is that we're talking about practical ways to provide leadership. That's a real practical way to provide leadership. Like reading is like what we do, and it's just fun, and it's really cool to feel the kid get empowered about that, reading books and story times. But anyway.
So, you know, we've talked about kind of these broken bones and reading and such.
Yes.
Think back, like where else, what was this like kind of the genesis moments? Where did you start your leadership in the home?
To be very frank with you, when I was the kid, I felt like the genesis. Let me go to the genesis. The genesis is when they're a baby. When they're a baby, the very beginning starts with food. And then Arlene and I made a decision straight off the bat based upon Gary and Kathy Ezzo's book, Parent Wise, but Baby Wise, that we were going to be a parent-controlled feeding. We were going to determine when the child was going to eat and when the child was not going to eat. In the process of doing so, you stretch out the tummy of the little one. This is not cruel. It's all in the book. And the baby will sleep through the night. Every single time, your baby will sleep through the night at 2 months. All of our kids, everyone said to us, oh, you're so lucky. First one, oh, you're so lucky. The third one, you're so lucky. Read the book. It's all in there, seriously. So we decided with food, and keep in mind the very first temptation before Adam and Eve was food. So I remember we did this parent-controlled feeding thing. And then in addition to that, I remember Arlene, she would grind up all this like nasty stuff, like spinach and stuff. I mean, what were you feeding the kids, sweetheart?
Making ice cubes out of them.
You're making ice cube trays out of them? Yeah. So we determined like the health thing was like really important. And as that got older, I remember one time, like the food is really important. Like we have a green smoothie every morning.
Still.
Whether they like it or not, they're getting a green smoothie every morning. We're getting the good stuff in. So again, this is an area where we can provide leadership, where I just think is really, really important. It's just for their own health and safety and maturing healthy. And in addition to that, one time I snapped. We were at Cheesecake Factory, and it was our family and another family, and the kids sat at their own table and we sat at our table. And if you know anything about Cheesecake Factory, the menu is like an encyclopedia.
Yeah.
And all the kids, every single kid of mine and the other kids all ordered fettuccine Alfredo. And I snapped. You guys will never order fettuccine Alfredo ever again. There is a big, big world out there, and you guys need to be exposed to it, and I'm going to help you. No more fettuccine. We don't want fettuccine Alfredo. So again, it's something, food. Food is a big deal. So, eating your vegetables, all that kind of stuff, that's a big deal. Eating your salad. Might sound silly, but it's a very specific way in which we can provide leadership. Oh, and then I got another one for you. I remember one time I came downstairs, and I'm going to exaggerate. I'm going to throw my wife under the bus here. She was making an omelet for one, eggs over easy for the other one, and like oatmeal for the third one. And I came downstairs, and she was running ragged. I was like, what are you going to make me? Like blintzes or something? I was like, nope. No more. leadership. You will make the same thing for everyone. Everyone's getting scrambled.
The day of liberation.
Right? So, and that's really cool for dads. We're still recording, right, baby?
Yep.
Okay, I thought I had a little speed bump. That was really cool for me as a dad to provide that leadership. And this is really, really important. You're not going to push mommy around. You're not going to run her into the ground so she has got no energy for me. I'm very selfish. I'm very selfish.
So just to clarify a few things.
Yes.
So I want to go back to the parent-controlled feeding so people understand what that means is putting your child on a schedule. So it's like, oh, you're going to eat every 2 hours or whatever, instead of like, oh, the baby's crying, let's feed the baby. So just so because it sounds like, what do? Do they only let them out at 6 p.m.? So just so you understand that. And then the fettuccine Alfredo, that's because every time they went to a restaurant, that's what they would order. And James is trying to obviously get them out of their rut of ordering the same thing. So was it that it was the thing? It was very funny. Okay, so let's go here. A lot of people in the moment, we just are just trying to get through the moment. So we're just trying to get through the day. My kids are in my face and I'm now going to respond to pacify them.
Yes.
But there's a greater thing when you realize, wait, this kid is actually going to grow up. And the way this kid their character is growing, the way I show up will really matter. So how can we shift from just getting by to realizing I am actually raising a future adult?
Yeah. My brain's about to explode. I have so many ideas. How could we ask the question to me one more time? So
give us the perspective of, I'm not just raising a child here and trying to get through this. I am raising a future adult.
Yes. Okay. As a leader, one of the important things is for us to provide is feedback. But before I talk about feedback, it's important for us to say that the window is really short. We really put a high priority on the first 12 years, right? The first 12 years, we're going to do this full court press because we knew the development was going to be like, kind of like it's shutting every day, every year it shuts. You only get 18 summers, right? And then they go off. So we really wanted to put a real commitment on that first 12 years and make sacrifices for those years. So when your values are clear, your decisions are easy. So that was our mindset going into this thing. And we realized we can put our fingerprints on theirs, not just in what they do and what they like, but also on their souls. So I do want to talk about this idea of culture, because as a leader provides culture, right? And let's break that down specifically what that means for you as a dad. Part of that is feedback. And we were given a tremendous gift. And I want to talk about feedback in two areas. One would be as the positive, one with the negative. The feedback immediately is really appropriate. When that baby, sees mama for the first time and is, right? That's so good. Dad touching the baby, and doing little silly faces. That feedback and that appreciation for that little one is enormous. That needs to be appropriate. It can't emphasize that enough. And it needs to continue. That needs to continue. But part of that also is the constructive feedback. And I think sometimes we can get just lost in the love and forget that we need to raise the adult and not just the child. So specifically what this meant for us, before I get specifically, very specifically, we were given a gift because we had a hard time with breastfeeding. Not me personally, but... And we were given a gift because we had this little one. We went to this specialist who reminded me of Mrs. Doubtfire. She was British. And I remember she said straight off the bat to Arlene, "Mom, show us what you got." And, so the baby went on, Ethan went on Arlene's breast and immediately the baby bit down on Arlene like a chew toy. And without flinching, the lady took her little finger and popped it right on the fatty part of the leg, right underneath the diaper of Ethan. And Ethan was just like, and then he went back and she said, "No, pull her off." And she told Arlene, she goes, "Never let him use you as a chew toy." And this for us was an amazing gift because we realized that we can communicate with a little one. We can share with them not just loving feedback, but we can also communicate to them things that were bad. And this is in the Ezo's book. We actually started with sign language. This is more, this was no, this was yes, right? We started with these little tiny things. And believe it or not, it sounds crazy. Kids pick up on this stuff really fast. They're really, really intelligent at a young age. So this aspect of feedback, we were given this gift that most people don't have. So I remember a friend of mine came over and he's like, oh, the diaper changing. How do you deal with that one? For our family, that's a 2-person task. And I told him the story. No. What you got to do is we can learn from the lady, Mrs. Doubtfire. You just flick them in the fatty part of the leg. Don't do the somersault.
Right. That there's different kinds of feedback.
Yes.
And they're both needed.
Yes.
And they're both a blessing to the child. So the child knows what to do.
Yes. And then part of that, I just want to piggyback on that, is this idea of feedback. What do you do? Obviously not with an infant, but what do you do with a whining, not infant, but toddler? What do you do with that? Well, you can do a couple of things. You can acquiesce. You can say, oh, happy. You can distract, right? That's what most parents do. Or you can make a commitment, realize I'm not raising a child, I'm raising an adult. How can he get the vitamin N? No, to deal with disappointment now so he can deal with disappointment better later in life. So what does that look like? Specifically for us, whining was a no-go. If you whine, even if we want to do it, we can't do it. Like if we're going to the zoo or to SeaWorld and you start whining about something, that throws the monkey wrench into the machine and stops everything. You do this a few times, the kids will realize like you're really serious about this thing. By the way, it needs to be said, the children of Israel didn't make it into the promised land because of whining. Right? So we had like zero. Oh, here it is. Look at this. This is my
I've got a no whining pin.
I put these on all my kids. No, I didn't. I didn't. So what we would do when the kids would whine, I would either ignore them. They were not going to get a positive result, or I would discipline them. Little flick, something, either spanking. And you go, if you want to do spanking, you got to read the book by, is it Ted Tripp, Shepherding the Child's Heart? He talks specifically on how to give the spanking step by step. But we wanted to raise an adult who is filled with gratitude. And that starts, believe it or not, when they're in elementary school. So here's what we would do. If you're whining, we would have something called cure-all.
Almost forgotten about cure-all.
Cure-all was liquid cod liver oil. Right? Really yummy stuff. Some of you take fish pills because you're in your 50s and 60s, right? Right. Try taking it in a liquid form in a spoon. So anytime oh my goodness, you're whining. Oh my goodness. Sounds like you need some cure-all. Come on, let's go. Cure-all. So the cure-all. Kids get it real fast. We're not doing whining at the Pelican House. Now, I'm not talking about appropriate feedback where they're telling you, because I would ask them on how I could be a better dad, how I can do different things better. We're talking, you got to be man enough to, any good leader needs to be man enough to be able to handle those criticisms. So
you would call that cure-all liquid sunshine also.
Liquid sunshine. That's right. Good. But yes. And the other thing, so yeah, that idea of, and I can go on with other examples, but I don't want to, what are your thoughts, Arlene?
Yeah. So the idea is you're making whatever behavior you don't want counterproductive.
Yes.
And so as a leader, it's your job sometimes to put the cure-all in to make it really unattractive to do the wrong thing and then be creative about it. So let's say you're doing something, but it's not doing anything else, then try something else until you're speaking in your child's language that they say, oh, I'm going to back away from that activity because I don't want the cure-all that my father has dreamt up for me.
And every kid is different. What would work with Ethan didn't work with Lucy and vice versa. Mm-hmm. Every kid is different, right? Just absolutely. And you just got to figure that out. But we're not doing whining. We're not going to tolerate that because it's a big deal. It's a big deal for God. Absolutely.
On the other side, right? So you have like what you're doing to correct.
Yes.
But you also as a leader have what you're doing to have fun together, what you're doing to build bonds together. So you're like the ambassador of activities. Like you're the biker, hiker, skier, rollerblader. I'm just the nice person that like takes them to ice cream and stuff. So I'm the amusement park mom and you're the like go do it stuff activity dad. So how, just kind of talk through, first of all, if your kids don't want to do activities with you, what would you do as a leader to get them to do activities with you? Let's start there.
Well, first of all, it needs to be established that we're not living in a democracy. Well, we live in a democracy, of course. We do live in a democracy. Thank God for it, right? But at the Pelican home,
Like
it's
in your
not a
house.
democracy, right?
Yeah.
It's just not a democracy. Everyone has a say, but it's not a democracy. So one year I decided we're going to be a skiing family, and I built it out. Again, that leadership was necessary. We started with rollerblading. Everyone gets rollerblades. We all pad it up. We all do the thing. We start going down hills, slaloming. Then we get ice skates, right? Learn how to hockey stop. The next year, we actually went skiing. So it was all kind of really thought through that we were going to do. We're doing toe touches together. We're like exercising. And the kids didn't want to do it necessarily, but you really didn't have a choice. And,
Right.
and I think it's really healthy for kids.
It's really good. And then it's like they're so confident and they can do it and they're really good at it.
Yes,
now.
yes. And then one of the things that I've noticed about this generation of kids is they have a lot of anxiety. They have a lot of anxiety. And I realize part of the reasons why they have so much anxiety is because they're so incompetent. They haven't learned, we can talk about this in a second, asking. They haven't learned how to ask. They haven't learned how to deal with their frustration, right? They don't have basic skills. I'll give you, for instance, if you didn't know how to swim, but this is true. If you know how to swim and it's time for you to jump in the pool, you would have high levels of anxiety because you don't know how to swim.
Exactly.
If you don't know how to drive a car and you have to drive a car, right? You would have high levels of anxiety because you don't have competence. So one of the things that's going on here, because they call this, right? Don't they call it the anxious generation?
Sure. Of course. Yes.
Right? Well, a lot of this anxiety is coming from the fact that these kids don't have any skills. And part of it's the reason is because the dads have been relegated to being Uber driver, right? Or whatever the case is. And I'm an Uber driver. Believe me, I'm an Uber driver. But part of it also is these skills are really important. So whether it be biking, we all got bikes. We all got bikes and we're all biking to school. I remember one time for Ethan. So the first day of school is a madhouse. It's a madhouse. There's like the line to get into the school is just logistically it's just not set up for it. It wasn't made for, I think our school had like 1,000 people and 1,000 cars are driving to the school to drop the kids off. It's just not made for it. So I remember I think it was either first grade or kindergarten. It was one of those. I think it was first grade. And we already drove to school numerous times on the bike. Ethan was very competent. And you had the idea, I don't know if you remember this, we'll drive him to school. And I already knew that's a bad idea. That's just a bad idea. No. We live literally about 15 minutes away from the school on a bike. So I decided we're biking to school. And Ethan's like, I'm not biking. Well, I said, you better start running really fast. Tie up those running shoes because I'm biking. You can bike or not. And he had this huge meltdown, thinking that he was going to divide and conquer and Mama was going to take him in the car. I didn't care if he was going to be late because the development of his soul, it was more important to me. You can you'll be late for the first day of school. Giddy up. You can get on your bike. You can run. You can figure it out. But I'm going on my bike. You're welcome to join me. And that's really powerful. I find that takeaway clothes, especially early with the kids, is a very, very powerful way to say, oh, you don't get to play. I mean, you could be late. Okay. So anyway, does that make sense?
Yeah. And then why do you say the development of your soul? So someone here, they are in kindergarten, how does that affect like how they get to school and what they did to manipulate their parents? Just help us connect those dots.
Yes. Good. Thank you. So I believe one of the most fundamental skills a little one can develop is self-control. It's like really foundational. If they can develop self-control before they even get into kindergarten, I got news for you. Your kid is going to win at everything. I'm serious, because they have such an unfair advantage over every other kid that has no self-control whatsoever. Absolutely. And we didn't even talk about this regarding the food and intake.
Yeah.
Arlene, I'd like you to just take a minute just to talk about this, because this is a very specific way parents can provide leadership is with digital stuff now in the area of self-control. Just take a minute just to go into that. And why is that so important?
Yeah, it's hugely important because self-control is making yourself do something that you don't want to do. right? That you do it even though you don't want to. And the whole digital world is completely set up so you don't even have to move. You don't even have to get up out of your seat.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to learn a skill. You can watch someone, you can watch someone play a video game or cook or be, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's very passive. It's very about you instead of having to learn, we have one, even a flat screen TV, we have one flat screen TV, let's say, and all of us have to choose a show to watch together. That's better than, hey, if everyone has their own individual device, then everyone gets to just do whatever they want all the time. So, obviously making kids eat good food doesn't happen without the parents' intervention. And it's the same way of using digital devices wisely will never happen without a parent's intervention, because obviously the whole model is based on let's get these kids hooked on screens as early and young as possible. So parents have to be super involved in that.
And it does need to be said. I mean, we're seeing it. You just look in the newspaper. This includes homeschoolers too.
It doesn't matter. Anybody.
Don't think just because you put your kid in homeschool away from all the distractions in front of a computer, they're going to be okay. No, there needs to be an appropriate level of leadership that's there. The other thing I need to say along these lines specifically is the leadership morphs and changes, doesn't it? As the kids get older, right? It makes sense. But I mean, when we went across the street, we would teach Ethan, how to look both ways and all that kind of stuff, right? I don't hold his hand anymore. He's 21.
Yeah, he's going to be just fine.
Right? So the reason why I share this is a lot of the stuff we're talking about now is early development, those first 12 years. There's this full court press of leadership. And the beautiful thing about it is as you do this stuff, we can go back to the activities just for a second, it's going to develop a degree of competence. And from that level of competence is going to spring all sorts of fun. For example, my kids can handle expert slopes on just about any mountain. It's fun. It's fun. They ski. They're just really, really good at it. And the reason why I say this is that it's just really important for the dad to provide this leadership, because they're going to take these ideas of how they won with the little things and apply it to other areas. Oh, they saw how the disciplines of the toe touches, the roller skating, the ice skating built up into them. Okay, now I'm skiing expert slopes. They saw this progression, and they'll see this progression as you help them win with the little things. You will help them win with the bigger things. I told them, like, my daughter was really scared to drive. And I used a skiing analogy. I was like, sweetheart, when was the last time I set you up for failure? Right, we're good, right? Even with the bicycle, all that kind of stuff, I always set you up to win. My goal is that I will launch you to win. And this is really good. This is really good stuff, because as we're talking about the kids moving forward out of the house, we're having this conversation with them in their teenage years. I'm asking them, how many kids do you guys want to have? What do you guys want to do for a living? And you want to become a speech pathologist? Oh, one of my clients is a speech pathologist. Let's see if we can hook you guys up. Oh, you want to be an accountant? One of my clients is an accountant. I have a friend that's an accountant. Let's see if you can visit his office. Literally dress them all up, visit his office, shut the door, I go bye-bye. Come back in a half an hour. Those types of things are really, really important, because I'm not raising a child, I'm raising an adult. Oh, you want to be an engineer? I know some clients. Architecture, great. Let's go. So those types of things kind of expand the child's mind. I think it's like really, really important. And the things that they learn with the activities, right, they're going to apply to later on in life. I think it's like really, really important. Yeah.
It's really good for dads to help professionally and give that advice, moms too, and just really like make those connections with other adults that the kids can't do by themselves. You've done a really, really good job with that.
But in addition to the part of that last part is the takeaway. Just want to let you know, the same way daddy didn't put you on an expert slope so you can see your butt go all the way down the mountain, end up like in a big, that they call a garage sale, right? All these things everywhere, is the same way daddy's going to make sure that you go into the marketplace and win. And the reason why I say this is because when I'm going to create the expectation for the little one that you're not staying at home all the time. Like, after your education is over, I did my job. Like, I love you guys. I love you. Right? But I don't need to provide for you anymore. And we set this up as an expectation, and we start taking it away and realizing you guys kind of need to pony up here. And you know what's so beautiful? They do. and they win on their own because the stuff is self-control has been established from them from a really early age.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's so
the
beautiful.
leadership is follow me and I'll
Mhm.
show you how to do this. It's not let me just do this for you, child, all your life, and I will be your leader. So it's really different.
Mhm.
Now, you've talked about academics and different
Mm.
things, and you as a dad being involved in it, and
Yes.
not of course being very respectful always to the teachers, and
Yes.
and you're supportive and grateful. But the buck ends with you.
Yes.
But your people might think like, oh, you had a really easy experience as a child in academics, but they would be wrong. So tell a little bit about your experience as a kid academically, and then how did that drive your approach with the kids?
Yeah. So Arlene was the smartest kid in the classroom. There's no question about that in my mind. And unfortunately, I felt like I was the stupidest kid in the classroom. I wasn't, but I wasn't fully trained in a sense. And I remember being belittled because I didn't know as much as the other kids. In fact, it affected me so much in one school that I went to that I asked my mom, because they used to threaten, you think this is bad? You think this is bad? You wait till you get to second grade.
Right.
I told my mom, came home from school. I said, Mommy, I don't want to go to, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to go to second grade. I want to stay in first grade. Seriously, I held myself back because I felt like the stupidest kid in the classroom. So given this as a backdrop, I made sure that when my kids went to kindergarten and our kids went to dual immersion, it was all in Spanish, and we're not a Spanish speaking home, that my kids,
well, it's us.
my kids they all knew how to, right? Sweet. This is your fault. They knew how to read. They all knew how to read in English. Before kindergarten, this sounds crazy, but we would do the phonics books.
Well, the cat sat on the mat, things like that. Yes.
Right? But they knew stuff.
Yeah,
and then I couldn't teach them in Spanish, but what I could do is I can drill them. They had to do their numbers and their oh. They had to do all their stuff. They had to know all their stuff in like a time manner, and I could drill them on the stuff. And I remember one Latino mom, Ethan had to do like his numbers from like 1 to 50 in under 30 seconds. And she's like, James, he doesn't even breathe. But this is really cool though, because the winning begets winning, right? If you set your kids up early in life to win, they love to win.
They get a taste for it, and they want to do it again.
They love to win. And by the way, this is not about me. This is about seeing my kids win. Like, I want them to win. I want them to be the children of God that God has destined them to be, to fulfill their roles in society, right? Mm-hmm. It is so cool because once they get this taste of this winning, then they want to do it again. And then it creates this self-perpetual machine. You can coast. Like, neither Arlene and I, like, Arlene, when was the last time you heard me ask the kids, when did you do your homework?
So it's a question we really pretty much never asked all the way through. It was more like one time Noelle, like you asked her how to spell a word and she didn't know it. And you were very alarmed, like, oh my word, she doesn't know how to spell that. And that's when you were like, now we're going to do spelling drills. So you would do things like that. Mm-hmm. But we never asked the kids, do your homework. We never did that. It was like, hey, that's your responsibility. You gotta take care of that.
So I think Noelle was in either second grade or third grade. And I said, baby doll, what'd you learn today at school? Mm-hmm. I was like, I would like you to write on this piece of paper 3 sentences in English, what you learned in school today. And she couldn't do it. And I realized, oh my goodness, I'm the principal of my kids. I have a responsibility according to Deuteronomy 6. I do, to teach my kids. It's my responsibility. I realized I failed in that moment. And we started something. We live on Ewing Drive. And I did this thing called Ewing Academy. And our kids were every Saturday for like an hour, we did flashcards. We read a book. And as we would read the book, we would underline the word that didn't work, that we didn't look. We would look it up, create a flashcard out of it. Like, I was really serious about that. Our kids were going to win. This is what we did. We did it every Saturday for I'm going to say 2 or 3 years. Like, we would do these flashcards out of 3x5 cards, and we would cut them up. And I have a stack, without exaggeration, at least a half a foot, at least 8 inches high of just all the words that each kid was working on. It was so cool. It was so cool. People say, James, you're crazy. Yeah, I am crazy. But I'm just saying, whatever area of leadership that you think is appropriate, just realize you're not training a child, you're training an adult. And part of that, for me, it was really important. Just the way I was raised, I didn't want my kid to be the stupidest kid in the room. It was really important to me.
And it's important to say this doesn't mean like this might sound complicated, like complicated, like that they're saying, "Oh, James, you're crazy." But these are actually simple things. It's just that you did them and
Yes.
that you had the vision to do them. Because it doesn't mean you have to know all these words or know all these things. You just say, you make a system and then you keep your kids doing this particular system.
Now, it sounds like I'm like Tiger Dad and I draw blood from a stone.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't care. I really didn't care. To me, what I cared about was our 4 rules was right, others, best, smile. Those are our 4 rules in the Pelican House. And the question to me is, did you do your best? Okay, you got to see you did your best. I got plenty of C's. I got plenty of them, right? If that's your best, great, groovy. And that's the question I always ask my kids whenever they did you do your best? Right? I didn't care. Oh, you got to study more. No, I know. Just did you do your best? That's the issue. Did you do your best?
So as we close out, what do you think as people are, kind of processing what they heard? So you're raising adults, not kids. You're being proactive. You're leading with both correction and also with a lot of praise and affirmation. You're doing activities together so that your kids can learn skills. You are looking at the physical food and the digital food that's going into their bodies and taking responsibility for those things. As you think about it, is there something that you're really hoping your listener will just really hold on to today?
Noelle said it best in the last podcast. Your kids, your voice is really important. God deputized you. You have a special relationship that no one else has with your kids. They're your kids. They're not my kids. I know that for a fact. They're not my kids. They're your kids. And I say this complimentary. It's a responsibility and a privilege. It's just a wonderful opportunity that you have. So don't feel like, oh my goodness, I got to do all this stuff. I suck as a dad or whatever. That's not the issue. Just pick one area you want to win in. Talk to your wife about it. Say, I want to do X, whether it be you want to do skiing or rollerblading or bowling. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the event is, or it could be about food. We want to do this with food. We want to do this with media. We want to do this with cell phones and whatever the case is. Just one area. Talk to your wife about it. Be unified, because that's a big deal. You got to get the unification, because there is going to be pushback and there's going to be a need for leadership. There really will. So just realize that, take it real small. Just one thing where you think you can up your game to be that better dad, so that when your kids go to college or go to a trade school, that you don't have any regrets. You don't really oh, I wish I would have taught him this. I wish I would have taught him this. I wish I would have made read these books or whatever the case is. Just have no regrets. And that's a big, big, big statement. But my point in sharing this is start with one thing. So whatever that may be, I don't know what it is. Just realize your kids need you, and just one thing, and go for that one thing.
Leadership. Thank you so much. That was great.
One last thing before we go. I just got to let you know, I do coaching. Something I'm really passionate about is helping people grow, helping guys grow. And if that's something that you think could work for you, if you don't have that Brent Wing that lives right across the street, check out the show notes. There's a little link in the bottom that tells you about some of the services that I provide.
Yeah, happyhomeuniversity.com/coaching. And James will do a free call with you just to see if it would be a good fit. And one-on-one coaching will really take your parenting to a new level.
God bless you guys.